So we have this NAT 5 summon event. It's been out for a few weeks already, so many of you have already done all of your farming, made your choices, and you're done with it. However, there are some casual players that don't farm like crazy every single day, and they haven't completed this event yet, or they're not sure who they should pick, and that's why we're making this video today. So at the time that I'm recording this, we do still have 27 days left, and I'm going to go through a few different lists that I made that are going to give you a direction on what you should pick if you haven't already, give you a direction on what you should pick depending on the different area of the game that you'd like to focus on. So the first suggestions we're going to take a look at are the arena offense options. These would be the ones that I would consider if I was trying to climb in arena. We have some strippers over here, although Tiana is still a more reliable stripper than Chiwu. He does have the speed lead in case you want to use something like Ashir with him. I know a lot of people like to use the Chiwu Ashir offenses. We have this, which is going to prevent things from coming back from the dead as well. We have the Rocky, and we also have the Demon over there. We have this to increase cooldowns, this to increase cooldowns, this to increase cooldowns as well, this to increase cooldowns, and then we have this is some setup, defense breaks, and speed buffs. This is a good setup for something like Poseidon as well as a few other units. These two are speed-based damage dealers. They have their pros and cons. This is mostly a damage dealer. This is damage dealer. These things are going to like do all of the work and get the actual damage and kill things. Same thing with these. Here's just a nice bomber. I should have actually included CR in this. Some things are going to be missing. You can be like, oh, well, you could have put this in there. You could have put that in there. I could have put so much more, but I didn't want it to be super cluttered. I tried to just make it some of the better units, even though a lot of other units can also be useful. Here now are some suggestions if you're looking for arena defense units now. So we have a few different themes on this one. We have some things that self-revive. We have Vanessa, which will revive one of the allies. We have Nana, will revive one of the allies. Perna, Samath will revive themselves. So that is one of the common trends. We have some strippers here. This is really a good stripper for speed leads. We have a couple speed leads here. We have also units that have passives that mitigate damage. We have things that come in and heal and possibly cleanse. Juno also comes in, heals, possibly cleanses. We have some HP leader skills. HP leader skills. This is these are good for two different teams though. Just take this into consideration. Like for a bruiser team, Juno and well, this is actually supposed to be Carnal, not the Fire Bison, but you get the idea. So these are good for bruiser teams. Camilla's good for a bruiser team. Manon's good for a bruiser team. And then things like Samath, Triton, Savannah would be better for an aggressive team, although you could use a lot more for an aggressive team. I know a lot of people are using Claras for aggressive teams. And things like that. You don't necessarily need NAT 5s for the faster teams. So that is the units that I recommend considering for arena defense. Next are my recommendations if you're looking for things for Guild War or a Guild Siege and you prefer that game mode more than the other ones, because really it's dependent on what kind of game modes you actually like to play. If you do a lot of guild content but you don't do RTA, you really don't need to consider the RTA units too much if you absolutely hate the game mode, and you'd be better off taking something for guild content. So these are units that are going to be a little bit better for Guild War and Guild Siege. I would also recommend considering things that are useful in multiple different areas. So if you see something on multiple lists and it's one of your choices, maybe go with that one. Because we do have some things here, like for example Nora and Juno again, that we've seen in the arena defense, and I'm sure we'll see in some other stuff as well. We see the Nana here, we see Basta here. So these are units that are going to be good not just for one of them in Guild Siege or Guild War or Guild content, but even getting dupes of these are going to be very nice. Next up, these are the recommendations for World Arena for Guardian Plus. These are going to be the more effective units. This is based mostly on win rate though, so take that into consideration, because I know some people are going to be, oh, why is Manon not in here? Why is Diana not in here? Why is this one unit that's specifically toxic to me not in here? But these are the, based on the current win rates, these are the more effective units in World Arena at higher levels. However, these do require pretty good runes. I was going to say yuns. I don't know what a yun is, but they do require pretty good runes to actually make as effective as they need to be, especially units that require high speed on things like, for example, Oliver or Ethna or Shizuka or Shungpung. A lot of these things require high speed and efficient violent sets. So realistically, with the last slide, if you're doing World Arena and taking it seriously at a somewhat decent level, you should already know what units are the most effective, so you really don't need me or anyone else to tell you what units are going to be effective in high-level World Arena, because you've already been playing against them the entire season. But this one makes a little bit more sense if people are confused, or casuals, or new players. So this is RTA, but your runes are slow, or maybe they're less efficient. So we'll go over a lot of these units are passive units, so you don't necessarily need to get a turn from your speed to be effective. They either counterattack or they increase their own speed by other means. So let's take a look at some of these. So Juno already, if she's got a debuff on her, she increases her speed. Also, she can counterattack if she's on revenge and then get turns that way. Same thing with the other oracles, but Juno is kind of the one to mention a little bit more so than the others. Leica will counterattack. Meihao Wang will stack his stats over time. This is the same one. Passive will make her faster, and also she has pretty high base speed, so you don't need that crazy. I mean, you do still need some speed on her, don't get me wrong. Don't pull like plus 30 speed and be like, she's fine, don't worry about it. She's a defense, plus 30 speed. She's gonna do, you still have to rune them correctly for these to work, but they have a little bit more leniency. Even though at a high level you'd still want a really nice Masha. You can't be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do plus 30 speed on. I keep saying plus 30 speed, unless you're going to do like a Masha Leo trap. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're just talking about these things that mostly have passives. This is a passive. He's going to cleanse. He's going to revenge. This one's going to cut and steal turns. This is going to mitigate damage regardless of if her attack gauge is full or not. She's going to mitigate damage and counterattack. This one, he's going to die. He's going to come back from the dead after your opponent takes 1,000,000 turns. This one, you don't need to make him crazy fast. He does need some speed, but he doesn't need crit rate. He doesn't need crit damage. He can do some decent damage with just having speed. He doesn't also need violent runes. You can put violent runes on him. That's not a problem. But he can work with multiple different rune sets and still be effective. Especially rune sets like Endure and Shield and things like that you wouldn't normally put on too many units. Speaking of Shield, here's another one. He's going to increase his speed based on the amount of buffs. So that's gives him much extra speed. Also, you don't have to put crit damage, things on of that nature on him. You can just rune him Violent Shield, Speed HP, make him tanky, and he's good to go, and he can do some decent damage as well. And then this one, this revenges. This one, this is going to cut in steal turns and cleanse itself, cut in steal turns, steal turns. This one's going to increase attack gauge as well. This one's going to counterattack, and then this one needs no speed at all. I'm going to get so much slack for this one, but these are my recommendations for PvE, TOA, and casual players. Now, I know what many of you are thinking, most of you probably are thinking, is why would you ever, if you have 9 choices for brand new Nat 5s, or maybe some of them are brand new, some of them are not, but if you have 9 choices for Nat 5s, why would you pick something that's good for TOA? There's already so many good TOA units. There's already so many good Hall of Heroes units and farming units. Not everyone is a competitive PvP player. Some people just like to play the game casually, collect monsters, do their TOA, make sure they complete 100 in TOA normal, TOA hard, do their Hall of Heroes, and do the events so that they get free summons. And they're just playing like it's Pokemon, and they're just trying to collect a lot of monsters, and they want the fun monsters that are going to make TOA easier for them every month. And these are some pretty good units for these are the ones that more casual players that don't take PvP seriously enjoy for the most part. Things that are good for TOA, like for example, great for TOA. They can also be really good for other things as well. I would recommend to get something that's potentially good for this, and also if you want to play more PvP in the future, then you have some really nice units for PvP in the future. Like for example, some of these I think are really good choices. Some of these, like great for arena offense. So you can choose some of these. Also, this is great for many different places in the game, but these are ones that I would recommend for TOA, Hall of Heroes, farming, etc., etc. Like for example, Tashar is basically only good for farming. I know some people clean with Tashar. I know all the things, guys. I played this game. I play this game too much. But a lot of these are good damage dealers, just overall nice double AoE units, defense breaks, AoE defense breaks, big damage, real fast clears for farming if you want. Clears for farming, even though, like I said, things like the homunculus exist, so you don't really need these units. You don't really need anything for PvE, but these are fun units for PvE. If you don't plan on doing any PvP or taking the game competitively at all, then these might be some good choices for you. I know I'm going to catch slack, but some people just like to play casually. Last but not least, I did 5 no regret choices for each element. These are things that are good for many different areas of the game and also ranked high on the tier list that we did together, where you guys voted on the stuff and then I just put it into tier list format. So these are choices that you can't really go too wrong with these. Maybe there was something you're like, oh man, it would have been nice to have that, but like you don't really regret whatever you choose if you choose one of these units. So anyway, hope this was helpful, mostly for new players, returning players, or confused casual players. So hope you guys enjoyed it. That's it for this one. I will see you as always in the next one.